So good afternoon, good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us at this information session on the Opera calls for proposals. We're very excited to announce that one of the calls has been launched. And this information session will speak about the call and also about the other call that will soon follow, and try and also answer any questions that interested applicants have. So with me, my name is Lilian Diaris. I'm the Opera project manager. And with me, we have Enrique Alvarez, who is the technical coordinator for the Ocean Prediction Decade Collaborative Center. So it's the framework that the Opera project is implemented within at Mercator Ocean. We also have Sufyan Enda from the procurement team. So for all the legal questions, he will be answering them for us. We also have Yande Salam Muhammad, who's our communication and user engagement officer. And we also have Vincent, who you don't see, but he's helping us run the whole event. So welcome. Without much further ado, we're going to start. Can anyone see my slides?
Yeah, all's fine.
Okay, great. So today we're going to speak, I'm going to quickly go through Opera, but most of you should know what Opera is all about, so I'm not going to spend too much time on it. I'll present the two calls, the one that's currently open and the second one which will follow. Then Enrique is going to walk us through some of the links and support from other project components. So what is these project components are going to create an enabling environment for the different consortia. So a lot of technical things that might be very important for the applications. And then Sufyan is going to talk you through the application procedure, evaluation timeline. And then we're going to finish off with a Q&A via Slido. So here is the Slido link. You can also just go on slido.com and type in Opera, #Opera, and here you can start putting in your questions as they come along. And basically, please vote favorite questions, because at the end, we will devote about 30 minutes to answering questions, and we're going to start with the questions that are the most voted on questions. So the calls for the proposals. So to start with an overview of Opera. So Opera, which stands for the Ocean Prediction Enhancement for Regions of Africa, is a 10 million euro project that's running for 5 years, so it'll end in 2029. And it's implemented by Mercator Ocean International. So Opera is actually part of a bigger program of the EU, which is called the ArcEx, Africa Regional Centers of Excellence Program, which really seek to develop these centers of excellence to strengthen science, innovation, and technology for sustainable development and Africa's green transition. I think, Yande, please could you share the links as I speak? So Opera really represents the ocean component. There are 5 other components, as you can see on the slide. So we're very happy to be part of this program. And of course, Opera and this overall ArcEx program is really contributing to the EU Ocean Pact, the Global Gateway Strategy, aligned with African policy and strategic frameworks. And this is also something that potential candidates should take into account. And please also, make some reference in the applications. And this is in the guidelines, it's clearly stated. So please familiarize yourselves with these strategies, because at the end of the day, everything we're building with Opera has to be impactful. Also, this project, as I said, started in 2025, and we have some activities already in progress. For example, the capacity development activities, which kicked off this year. So we're very excited about that. And there was an open call for this, and basically the call was won by the UNESCO International Chair for Mathematical Physics and Applications at the University of Abomi Calavi, in collaboration with the Gulf of Guinea Ocean Science Summer School. So they will be doing a lot of activities for Opera, the Global Opera Project, including launching some massive online open courses, interactive activities, and ocean literacy materials. So we're very excited that this component has started, and now we're really happy that the calls are launched, so we can finally start with the core of the project. And of course, if you want to be kept up to date, please register on the Ocean Prediction DCC website. So the first call, it was launched, I think 2 weeks ago now, on the 5th of March. It's really to establish and manage a consortium of sub-Saharan African institutions to co-design, install, operate ocean forecasting systems, one regional and up to 4 coastal ocean forecasting systems in the framework of OPERA. The call deadline, so it has to be open we're obliged to keep it open for 90 days. So the deadline for the application is 6th of June. And of course, to apply, I'm sure all of you have this link, but in case you don't, you can find it on the Mercator website page. And there's About Us. If you go down on the menu, you find a dedicated section on grants. So this is where the second grant will also appear when it's launched. So this is in the document. So basically, in the applications, we're looking for applicants to propose milestones and deliverables and tasks to achieve these global overall objectives or results, let's say. And we're really looking to have, at the end of the project, the development and operation of regional and coastal ocean forecasting systems in sub-Saharan regions. So one fully operational regional ocean forecasting system covering the Southern African region, which has been chosen as the region of focus, and up to 4 coastal scale forecasting systems. And some of these forecasting systems might feed into the applications that we developed by the application consortia, which I'll speak about a bit later. And these systems need to be operational, they should be validated, and their maturity should be assessed. And of course, everything all the results, all the data needs to be integrated within the African Digital Twin Ocean Framework. So this is a digital infrastructure that will be built by another component of the project. And so all the project results this will be the place where all the project results will come together and will be made accessible for all. Very important is also, this project is really needs to really focus on strong user uptake and adoption to make sure that the results are impactful, and of course the sustainability of the action post the project end, and of course societal and environmental impacts. So all the different tasks need to clearly demonstrate how the results are going to contribute to different policy directives, to the sustainable blue economy, to marine conservation, coastal resilience, and so on. So eligibility criteria. So the lead applicant, the grant beneficiary, must come from a public sector institution established in the sub-Saharan coastal African country. They have to have the legal and financial capacity to implement and manage the grants, and they shouldn't be in any situations listed in the sworn statement, which is one of the documents that's in the pack when you go to the tenders page, and Soufiane will speak about this in his section. The other consortium members, so basically, maybe for some of you it's not clear, but with this grant, with this call, we're looking for one single lead applicant to apply. And in parallel, we're going to launch the call to establish the consortia who will build the applications. And also with that call, we will also select the applications to be developed, which will be proposed by the applicants who are applying for the application grants. So once we know the application to be developed, and the application consortia have let us know if they need support from this current consortium, to build certain coastal systems, then this lead applicant or the grant beneficiary can contract other members to complete the consortium. So this can only be done once the applications are known. And again, these consortium members must be public sector institutions, must be based in coastal countries in sub-Saharan Africa. And we're looking for at least 3 consortium members need to be from different countries, so we don't end up with a consortium from one country. And of course, again, must not be in any of the situations listed in the sworn statement. The other possibilities for participants, they could be associated partners, they could be other subcontractors, and these you have more leeway from where they're coming from. They could be from the private sector, for example. While not mandatory, we really encourage the inclusion of least developed countries and of course the small island developing states. Okay, so the second call, so this is the the call to establish and manage, so a consortium to design, install, and operate 2 applications, so integrating ocean forecasts. So we have two grants available here for 820,000 euro. And here the publication of the call is imminent. And again, it should be open for 90 days. So we're looking, to have the deadlines close around the end of June. And so again, it will be made available on the Mercator webpage, on the web page dedicated to grants, which is not available at the moment, but it should be, as I said, launched very, very soon. And of course, if you register on the UN Ocean Prediction DCC website, you'll get a notification on this, or if you follow our LinkedIn channels. And here it's different because here we're looking for the consortium to be already have already identified all the members. So up to 5 members. They have to be public sector institutions, again, sub-Saharan coastal countries. And as I mentioned, we have 2 grants, and what we're looking really to see is to have the consortiums representing a single region in sub-Saharan Africa. So it could be West, Central, East, Southern Africa, or it could be a merge of 2 adjacent regions. So for example, if it's Western Central Africa, or a consortium representing Eastern Southern Africa, that's also possible. But we're really looking to have basically 2 consortiums covering 2 different regions in Africa. And again, they have to have the legal and financial capacity to implement and manage the grant, and shouldn't be in any of the situations listed in the sworn statement. The participation of LDCs and SIDS is encouraged. And of course, there's again the possibility to have subcontractors and associated partners. So all this is explained pretty clearly in the guidelines, and it will be the same for the application call, which will resemble very, very closely the call that was released. So if you're interested in applying for the call for proposals for the to build the application consortia, you can already take a look at what's published for the Ocean Forecasting Consortium, because it's not going to change very much, except that it's going to be focused on application development. So the eligible activities for both calls, these are indicative. Of course, it's not exhaustive. So of course, the activity should really focus on establishing the consortium, managing it, reporting, financial accountability, etc. The heart of it is really the technical developments. So for the ocean forecasting grant, that's the ocean forecasting system. For the applications, that's the applications to be developed. So each grant for the applications is towards the development of 2 applications. So at the end of the project, we want to have 4 applications, 2 per consortium. And this also entails the co-design, the development, the testing, the validation, operation, evaluation, improvement within the life of the project. Activities can also focus on capacity development, which is very, very important to make sure that there's uptake for the systems developed, and people can use all the digital ocean resources generated by the project. This could also entail short-term visits to Mercator, to visit the Mercator team, the European Digital Twin Ocean, because the African Digital Twin Ocean to be built will be built on the infrastructure of the European Digital Twin Ocean. This is explained nicely in the Opera proposal document, which is one of the documents available in the application, among the application documents. There could also be activities focusing on user stakeholder engagement, very important, dissemination, knowledge sharing, activities to strengthen African participation in the Ocean Prediction DCC, demonstrating contribution to different policy frameworks, the Ocean Decade Africa Roadmap, etc., which I mentioned before. Contribution in key events. There's some key events that you should be aware of. We have annual Opera workshops. There will be annual ArcX workshops, which is the overall program. There'll be advisory board meetings and other big events. And this should also be taken into consideration in the application because the grant money will be needed to support this event participation. And I think I'll stop here and give the floor to Enrique. Just tell me what you change the slides, please.
Thank you, Lilian. Thank you to all of you for the interest of being here. My name is Enrique Alvarez, and as Lilian stated, I'm the technical coordinator of the Ocean Prediction Decade Collaborative Center, working at Mercator Ocean International. And as Lilian also said, all the Opera project is framed into this overarching umbrella of the Ocean Prediction Decade Collaborative Center. So next slide, please. Well, this slide is just a recapitulation of what Lilian has just explained in a more graphical form. So you can see here the three calls. On the left and the right, you can see the calls for applications that are still not on the platform, but will be before the end of the month. And here you have there, in each of the consortia, you have the regional coordinator for the thematic application. Then you have the rest of the partners, and they will be operating the different applications that will be co-developed by this consortia and the technology transfer team, as I will explain later on. And in the center, you have the forecasting system, but there's something which Lilian already explained it, and I think that graphically it will be more clear. Of course, we have the problem that maybe some of the applications will be needing some high resolution forecasting systems. So we have to coordinate this in such a way that the applications could have access to the forecasting systems they might eventually need. So that means that in terms of implementation, the Consortium for Ocean Forecasting has to do the work in two steps. First of all, the coordinating institution can immediately start developing the regional system that they are going to develop, but they should wait a little bit before launching the work of the coastal systems. They should wait until we have very clear which are going to be the areas covered or needed, eventually needed by the consortium on applications, to make sure that the coastal systems developed by the consortium number one on ocean forecasting are those eventually required by the applications. In any case, when presenting ideas for this first consortium, it's convenient to include, let's say, the plan A and the plan B. So it's convenient to include which partners would be good to have in case the regional, the consortium for applications are not in a need of coastal forecasting systems, and those partners that will be eventually subcontracted could or could not be part of the work at the end of the day, depending on the result of the calls for application. It's a little bit convoluted, but once you understand it, it's very easy. Here, I insist, the trick is to make sure that we could have coastal forecasting system serving eventually the requirement of the consortium of application. It could be the case that the consortium of applications decide to have application which does not need a coastal forecasting system. In this case, the consortium of ocean forecasting will go to work with the partners of its own choice. It will be the decision of the coordinator for the ocean forecasting system what coastal systems and with whom it will be implemented. In this eventual case that the consortium for applications does not require a coastal forecasting system. So I hope this is more clear now. Next slide, please. So you can find this diagram on the website, and this is the big scheme of the whole Opera project. You see here the two consortia for application, the consortium for ocean forecasting system, all the downstream services. But next please, I want to highlight the bottom. Here in the bottom, you have a series of activities that are the ones that I'm going to be talking on my presentation about. Those are the activities that are designed to support the consortia in their work. So we are not, let's say, leaving alone the consortia to do these developments, but we are going to provide a series of complementary or activities or additional activities that will be helping in order to achieve the objectives described by Lilian previously. So let's describe all these activities one by one. Next slide. So supporting activity number one. This is the co-developing of the forecasting software. So how we are going to do this through an independent contract. The call has been launched, and by the end of this month, I think it's the deadline, the end of this month, we will have the different offers and we will select the best one. Who is the beneficiary of this work? Is the consortium in ocean forecasting. The call is launched, will soon be starting the activities related to that. And here the idea is that whoever is going to win this call is going to be supporting the consortium in ocean forecasting in the co-development of the software for the forecasting systems that will be used in the different implementations. It will be active in the support of not only on the development, but once the system is developed, it will be active in the support in the implementation and testing of all the domains, the regional and the coastal forecasting domains. It will be also active in the co-design and co-develop together with the consortia for ocean forecasting. Consortium for Ocean Forecasting will be active in the co-design and co-develop of the visualization interface. Support the integration in the digital twin that was explained by Lilian as a main component of the program to ensure interoperability of the results. It will also help on the initial phases of operation. It will be working with the consortium in the application of the operational readiness level to make sure, which is a collection of best practices, to make sure that the systems are properly operated, and in general it will be helping on the mentoring of the institutions running the operational forecasting services. So this is the supporting activity number one, which is well designed, and it's going to be starting soon. Next slide. Supporting activity number two, very similar, but for applications. Again, it will be solved through independent contracts with companies or institutions all around the globe. The beneficiary will be really all the consortia, but mainly the consortia for applications. But fundamentally, it will be the consortia for applications, obviously. Here we haven't launched the call, because we need first to understand what applications are we going to be building. So let's imagine that one of the consortium for application decide that they want to do something related with oil spill, an oil spill forecasting system. Then we will work with this consortium to create the specifications that will help us to get some external help to build the software needed or the tools needed. So the objective is to provide the members of the consortium with this is a mistake, copy and paste mistake from my previous slide. So here, this is from another task, but I can tell you the objectives are clearly to help on the co-development and the co-design on the applications, on the installation of these applications, on the follow-up. So during the first year, especially, this team will be helping in the follow-up of these of the operations of this application, and last but not least, on the mentoring on the activities, supporting the applications consortium into the learning on how to properly use this application, and not only use to get enough knowledge to make it evolve in the future. Next slide. Next one is the hardware acquisition, and you can see that the objectives are mixed with the previous one. So these two are switched. So it's not a problem because I will tell you anyway. So it will be done via an independent contract, and the beneficiary will be all the consortia, not the consortia for application. As you can see, those are mixed between one with the previous slide, and a call will be launched after the consortia is done, once the applications are identified, because we need to understand well the computer power required for this. And here, basically, the objective is very simple. For both consortia, the one on ocean forecasting and the one on applications, we will be providing the required hardware to operate the systems. So it is very simple, and we will be providing the hardware and making sure that the different institutions are capable enough, making some capacity development also to make sure that the institutions are able to handle this hardware. Next slide. The next one, the next supporting activities related with capacity development. You know that in Opera we have two streams, two main legs of capacity development. One is for general public. I'm not talking about this one here. I'm talking about the specific capacity development that will be done in Opera to all the members in the consortia. It will be done via summer courses, and the beneficiary will be all the consortia. The status is that these summer courses will be organized in the last years of the project, so it will be at the end of the project, and the objective is to provide this specific capacity develop for the operation and future upgrade of the application and forecasting systems. The capacity building activities will be provided by the developers of the forecasting system on the applications. So it will be the same people working with you on the development of the forecasting system and in the development of the application, the ones that will be providing capacitation through these summer courses. And last slide is about ocean literacy. So you want these products to be a success, and ocean literacy is very important on that. We are doing that through a specific contract with a third party, and the consortia will interact with the developers of materials. All the consortia will be the beneficiary, and the status is that the contract has been launched, as Lilian explained. The International Chair of Mathematical Physics and Applications is the winner of this call, and they are starting to work with us in this project. We have like two phases for the ocean literacy material. The first one is very related to ocean forecasting in general, so it's quite broad. But the second phase that will start later on, once the applications are defined, will only focus on the Opera projects. So the idea here on the Opera result, on the results from the Opera project. So the idea here is that the consortium will be able to iterate with its IMPA, so the ocean literacy material will be fine-tuned to the objectives of the consortium. Here the objective is to provide the consortium with all the materials of ocean literacy related to the Opera project products that will be developed. And those are the activities, the supporting activities that we wanted to explain to you. And in next slide, I will give the floor to Soufiane.
Just before we give the floor to Soufiane, I just want to highlight that these supporting activities have additional funding. So none of these shouldn't be involved. They won't include the grant money for the current call, but they have additional funding from other components of the project.
That's correct.
Okay. All right. Let's see. Now I'll give the floor to Soufiane. Just tell me when you want me to switch slides.
Thank you, Lilian. Next slide, please. So concerning regarding the procedure for this call for proposal, so to obtain information on grants, you can go to the Mercator Ocean website and click on the URL indicated on the slide. So to download, ask question and answer to the call, you must click on the Mercator Ocean web page of the call and click on click here to apply, which will send you to the platform. One important information is that all questions must be asked via the platform, and response will be shared anonymously via the platform. Next slide, please. The different documents provided in the call file, are as follows. So the sworn statement certifying not being in a case of prohibition to apply for EU public funding, the application form, the main point of contact, the financial proposal template, the description of action, and the proposal summary. And concerning the guiding documentation, so we have the guidelines for grant application and the Opera contribution agreements. Next slide, please. So concerning the evaluation process, after receiving the application, an administrative, legal, and financial analysis of the different application will be done. So control of the validity of the application. The next step is a technical evaluation of application by the evaluation committee with the technical capacity, the relevance, the feasibility, the impact of the different application. Then there will be a choice of beneficiaries by the selection committee. Then we will inform all the applicants to the result. And after that, with the winner, so we will negotiate and contractualize the grant agreement. And at the end, the project can start. Next slide, please. Concerning the timeline. So for the first call, the OFS call, we launch the call for proposal on March 5. We'll receive the different offers. So the deadline is on June 6. The notification to the successful applicants and the start of the grant negotiation is expected on July 15. The signing of the grant agreement is also expected on September. And the consortium agreement and subcontracting agreements have to be done on October. Concerning the application call, so it will be launched at the end of March, with a deadline at end of June. A notification to the successful applicant and the start of grant negotiation at end of July, and the signing for the grant agreement on September, and a consortium agreement and subcontracting agreements also on September or October. And concerning the Opera annual workshop, so it will be done on Cotonou in Benin, and the dates are October 12, 16 of October. So Lilia, maybe you can say some word about this workshop.
Yeah. So basically, this annual workshop has to be held every year in one of our partner countries. And today, as we are only partners at the University of Abomi Calavi in Benin, who are very happy to host us, we're going to have it in Cotonou. The dates are, let's say, 70% fixed, but we'll probably confirm this in a few months, because it also depends on the procedure of getting all the African partners in place. And to add to this, there will be another annual event in Dakar in December, which is the ArcX Forum. So this is also another contractual obligation that we all have to attend. So basically, in the proposals or in your budget planning, you have to just keep in mind there are specific workshops to attend, and the grant money needs to be used to support the travel. So yeah, I mean, this is just something to keep in mind. Okay, so I think we've covered everything we wanted to cover, and now we can open. We're going to share the Slido screen, and we will be here to answer your questions. So Vincent, do you want me to stop sharing so you can share the Slido? Vincent? Okay. We can see InWink.
Yes, 1 second. I'm sharing the Slido. Give me 1 second.
All the slides and the replay will be shared on the Ocean Prediction DCC website. So you have access to these. Okay, so let's start. Could you kindly clarify whether proposals can be supported by companies from EU countries? Okay, so basically, for this current proposal, no, because this is, as I said, it's only open to public institutions from sub-Saharan African countries. However, the other calls to form the technology transfer teams, as Enrique has presented, and these other calls will be open to EU countries and to everyone, actually. But for the specific regional centers of excellence, these are limited to African institutions. How to find the global fishery map? Maybe you can go to Global Fisheries Watch. I think this is out of scope. Okay, other applications developed and co-designed by the application consortia by the technical transfer team as per the OPDCC architecture. I don't think I... Yes, so basically the applications selected by the African partners will be co-developed by the African partners together with technical teams that will work with them to design all the solutions and implement. So is it related to the Ocean Prediction DCC architecture? Yes, if the forecasting systems are needed to support the applications. I don't know, Enrique, do you want to add to it?
No, just the clarification. The architecture is, as you explained it, is centered really on the forecasting system. So the application does not apply to the architecture does not apply to the applications. And the answer is yes. It's going to be done as you are suggesting in the question.
Yeah. Okay, to what extent would the forecasting consortia have input into the design of the regional system?
I can reply to that one if you want. To a large extent, the only thing that is fixed on the initial document that it has to cover a region in the southern part of Africa. So we are interested in the region due to we find this is a very good testing ground due to the complex dynamics of the region. So we think that this is a very good testing ground. But then in terms if the model goes a little bit more north, a little bit less north on the resolution and so on, there's a considerable degree of freedom. Nevertheless, we are expecting to have physics, bio, and waves involved on the solution.
Okay. So will the high-resolution downscaled systems, so the coastal systems for the forecasting consortium members, be run and maintained on the same infrastructure as the regional system? I think this is something for the consortium to decide.
Yeah, but in principle, the original design and the best thing is that these downscale systems are running on the other institutions, so the systems are distributed.
Yeah.
And in fact, we have allocated funds to get computer powers for these additional institutions. That's the ideal solution for if for whatever the reason a different solution is decided by the consortia, centering everything on the main institution. We are open to this, but the desirable solution is one leader running the regional system and other institutions subcontracted by this leader running the coastal system in other different institutions.
Okay. So, if I understand well, one person will submit the application, and inside it should include the other partners with him, he or she will work together. So For the ocean forecasting grant, yes, this is it. One lead applicant will submit the application, and in it they can suggest some potential partners. It's not binding because, as we said, we have to know the applications before this lead applicant can actually select the rest of the consortium members. But you're free to suggest, we want to work on, I don't know, somebody who's working on biogeochemical models, or I don't know, on waves, and you have some partners identified as potential partners, but it won't be binding. And I think this would make the proposal a bit stronger because you have already a network of potential partners. Okay, can NGOs be involved as associates, and can they be two partners from the same country? Yes, they can. NGOs can be involved as associates. This is really, I think, associate partners are not receiving funding, and so it's up to you who to involve. It's really, it can be in-kind contribution. It could be potential users of the results, and then can they be two partners from the same country? This is also possible, as we said, that in each consortium we want to see at least 3 different countries participating. Is the app? Sorry.
Yeah, maybe add here a little bit the rationale between for associated partners. Our idea is that maybe we are developing some application that could be interesting. I don't know. Maybe for 10 institutions, this application is super useful. Unfortunately, we don't have the resources to pay for these institutions to implement this application. So we will be funding 2 institutions, but maybe the other 8 can work as associated partners, and with their own funds, they could be running the application and they could be part of the consortium. The difference is that we will not have the money to buy the computer, to do everything that we are going to do with the main ones. But we are through this gate of the associated partners, opening the door to many more institutions to be part of the consortium, and therefore we are potentially expanding the impact of the whole project.
Yeah. Okay. Is the application done by the public organization or consortium? So the application will be done by the consortium, will be developed by the consortium, the 2 consortia selected to develop the applications, and each consortia will develop up to 2 applications. 2 applications, sorry, not up to, but 2 applications. And the consortium members should be public organizations. So I think you don't really understand the consortium architecture. Okay. Could United Nations World Food Programme in the region be eligible to contribute to new and innovative ideas based on the project? I mean, from the project results, I mean, the World Food Programme could be a potential, I don't know, user of the results if there any data on fisheries, for example. But I'm not really sure I understand. They wouldn't be eligible to participate in the project in the consortium, but they could be identified as a stakeholder or an end user. I hope that answers. I think everything is clear because there are no more questions. I don't know. I mean, if anybody has anything else to ask, again, the platform is there for that. So please, if you have any questions, use the platform. Oh, we have some more. Okay, many EU-funded projects often have allowable overhead limitations. Yes, I think there is overhead limitation. Soufiane, do you have this figure?
Not in mind, but I can check.
Yeah, I think it's not. If it's 10%, no, I'm not going to say. We can provide.
Yes, we will answer later, maybe, for this question.
That's a very good question. We'll answer this question on the platform. Okay, what applications do you think are tenable? I mean, they have to be really justified by local needs, priorities. And in the application call for proposals, you see that the scope is quite wide, so it could be anything working towards coastal resilience. So this is protecting coastal communities, safeguarding marine environments. It can be supporting sustainable blue economies, so fisheries, aquaculture, tourism, oil spill monitoring. It could be helping to manage MPAs. So I mean, they just have to be justified and really impactful for the region and not just one country. So just to give you an idea, there is also the possibility to think of applications that are already existing and using the project to improve on these and then really take the applications further, integrating new digital technologies. That's also possible, but we really don't want to be inventing applications that exist or just maintaining the status quo. There has to be some novelty, some innovation involved. Okay, many EU funded. Okay, that one we did on the overhead, so we'll respond to that via the platform. Other applications for the supporting activities due at the end of the month. So no, because the calls to establish the technical teams to support the application development, those are going to be only launched when we know the applications to be developed. However, there is a current call open to support the Ocean Forecasting African Consortium, and the deadline is the end of the month, and this you can find via the Mercator website if you go to tenders, because this is a tender, whereas the consortium support is through grants, so there's a difference. Also, if we're members of the UNESCO Ocean Decade Laboratories, could we create new innovative ideas based on the project opportunity? Again, this is for me stakeholder engagement. I'm not sure what the laboratories are. Enrique, maybe you are more familiar.
No, I'm sorry, I cannot help on that one, but I think that, as you say, this is the same reply than the previous one. Certainly, depends on how do you are stating the question. I mean, we are really open to ideas in the sense that we are waiting for the African partners to ask for the application. That's a lot. But once this is identified, I mean, the project will basically consist on develop these forecasting systems, these applications, these digital twin, and to make it running. Maybe, Lilian, there's a little bit of room for additional collaboration on the startup part.
Yes. So something we didn't mention, but is in the guidelines and in the project proposal that is available to everyone, is that there will be a component on entrepreneurial engagement. So here, what we're going to do is launch a call to find an incubator, an accelerator to help us develop business ventures from all the opera results. So this could also be an opportunity for other types of members. But this is really focusing on the private sector. And next year, we're going to have a workshop, a private-public sector workshop to kick off this project component. Okay, and then I think the next one is for Enrique. Should the forecasting proposal include a description of the regional model requirements?
So the answer is it is convenient to have at least an estimation. This estimation is not going to be wrote on stone because first of all, we don't know exactly what kind of computer we are going to be able to provide. We have a good estimation, but this estimation was done 1 year ago, and unfortunately the price of the RAM has increased a lot. So we don't know exactly at the end what will be the possibilities in terms of computing power, but at least some estimation should be done of what is the desired domain, the desired characteristics, the fact that it's wrote there doesn't mean that we are going to force this to be the final solution. This will be co-designed, but an estimation is certainly welcome.
Okay, thank you. Do we have to include capacity development in the proposal? So it is one of the eligible activities, and it's very much encouraged, because without capacity development, I mean, you know, there will be no assurance that the systems are going to be used or impactful. Is it only for Africans? So there is a component for the African partners, which is this, for example, this current call for proposals is targeting African institutions, and the other calls will be open for everyone, so European, African, from anywhere. And this is very clear in the guidelines, so please look at the guidelines. As a high-income country, we are often not eligible for these types of calls. I'm from the Seychelles. You are eligible for this call, because this is, as I said, it's for open to institutions from sub-Saharan Africa, including island states. So Seychelles, you're most welcome. Can the Moroccan Consulting Design Office apply for this project? So not for this current call on the call for proposals to form the consortia, but yes, for the other calls, for all the calls for the technology transfer. And other calls along the project, a Moroccan Consulting Office can apply. So just again, look at the guidelines. They are calls specifically for sub-Saharan countries, sub-Saharan African countries, and some that are open for all. And I think we're done. Okay, does institution have to be government? So public institutions. So for this call, yes, well, not government, but public institutions. So there's a difference. So they're under ministry, institutions that have who are under an official ministry. This is for the consortium members, but then again, if they're associate partners and other subcontractors, they don't have to be public institutions. Somebody has their hand up. Can we maybe give the floor? I don't know, Vincent. I see one of the spectators have their hands up, or maybe it's. Okay. I think we can end here. So thank you all for your attention. There is quite a lot of time to apply. Please read all the documents carefully. If you have questions, we're here to answer them via the platform. So all questions and answers have to be published. This is something legally binding. And yes, best of luck, and we're really looking forward to your applications.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.